Jeff, you hit hard on the front stretch. Are you all right, and what happened?
Oh, I'm fine. You know, the Tim Hortons car took a big beating there. Everyone, you know, we got the previous caution, the 27 car's out there without a spotter, and, you know, he turned us around and got us back in the mess. But, and that's what happens racing in the back of the pack here. You just looped it around and backed it into the wall. And we'll be back in Delaware.
Thanks, Jeff.
As we were talking to Todd, you saw the 21 of Jason White go around in a plume of smoke, but he did keep going, and we avoided a caution. So that puts White well behind the 8-ball as the leaders head on down the front stretch.
Well, that's a great battle by the 9 and the 4, but it is for 11th position.
Yeah, both have made their pit stops already here this evening, so they're trying to work their way back up through the field as we ride on board with Don Thompson Jr.
We take a listen to these race cars down the backstretch. Dave, this is the first race we've put mufflers back on these NASCAR stock cars.
Yeah, that's right. A lot of the races getting near larger communities, so want to keep the noise level down on the NASCAR Canadian Tire Series cars, so that's why the muffler rule came in. Battle for fourth spot with DJ Kennington. The 95 of Anthony Simone is quietly having a very, very solid run here today, and with more on his success, let's go pit side and check in with Todd.
Guys, it's a terrific run for the number 95 of Anthony Simone here in the early going, now up into the top 5. Talked with him just before the green. He said, I overdrove the car on my second qualifying lap. I should have been up much farther. He's rolled from 10th up to 4th right now. Thatcher Krupp and the rest of the crew cheering him on. He's having a terrific run.
Well, they are having a great run. Thatcher's a great guy, been around racing his whole life. And you know what? Look on the pit box beside him. Who was that? Giulio Montanari.
Yeah, very much a familiar face around the NASCAR Canadian. And we got trouble here on the front stretch. Caution out, the 99 of Derek White goes around. And it looks like he may have been helped as the field starts to slow here on the front straightaway. White will try and get the OCR Gaspar Impala straightened out and head in the right direction. We'll take another look at it.
Coming off the corner. Well, he was either a little loose off the corner or he did get just a little bit of help coming off of turn 4.
Pit stop time. Here's Todd.
Scott Steckly brings his Dodge along pit road. The crew going to work for left side tires. No fuel going in this time, but it'll be left sides. Expect Scott again later. The number 60 of Ron Beauchamp Jr. also making stop, as is the 4 of Don Thompson Jr. making another stop.
Well, Dave, as you see there, we only had 4 guys over the wall. It's a new rule this year. Only 4 over the wall. You cannot change tires and fuel the car on the same stop.
You saw Don Thompson Jr. pitted in behind Scott Steckly getting fuel, so Thompson has already been in to take tires earlier on this evening. Green flag back in the air in St.Eustache as Andrew Ranger leads him into quarter 1.
The 0-2 of Kerry Micks, he's hunting the lead. He's got to run off of turn 2 on the top side. Side by side into turn 3. Ranger pinches him going into turn 3.
Miguel Duhamel just outside the top 5 as a battle for the lead now. Kerry Micks gets that bumper dirty as he gets into the back of the 27. Again, Andrew Ranger hangs onto it again. The 99 goes around. Derek White once again facing the wrong way as the caution flag flies. Another car stopped there on the front straightaway, and it is the 7 of Miguel Duhamel.
Well, Dave, we've always said that cautions breed cautions, and sure enough, the jinx bit us tonight. Back-to-back cautions.
So a new leader now in the 0-2 of Kerry Micks as he led the last fully completed lap. Rangers in second. We'll be back. Welcome back to round number 1 of the NASCAR Canadian Tire Series. A pair of Fords paced the field in St. Eustache in front of a huge crowd. Great facility, brand new grandstands put in here, and the fans came out in droves as we go back to green here on lap 94.
Kerry Micks got a huge jump off of turn 4 in that restart, and look at the gap he's pulled already down the backstretch.
Mark Dilley sneaks up the inside of the 27 of Andrew Ranger. It's almost a penalty to be starting on the outside here for a restart, isn't it?
Wow, the racetrack is so flat, but the bottom is the preferred groove. And take a look back there in 4th spot. That's Mr. Retirement Dave Whitlock giving that 39 a whale of a ride tonight.
We're riding on board with Whitlock right now, who's in 4th position with a 21 of Jason White. Back in 5th. How about that A&W Monte Carlo? Just a wonderful ride here tonight.
Well, he paid his dues last year. He learned these cars. He learned all these racetracks. And this year he's getting a little more serious.
A little deeper in the field, early dominant was the 22 of Scott Steckly as he tries to work his way back up through this pack. And have to mention, too, the 18 of Kent Nuhn. You'll see him just barely come into your screen there. He's riding in 6, so a good run for him as well. And interesting to note, too, the 18 car, one of those new spec motors from NASCAR. So does your leader, the 02 of Kerry Micks. He's got one under the hood.
Oh, the 27 dives under the 9 of Mark Dilley down the backstretch. Gives him a little rub job to move out of the way, and he gets around the lap car.
Dexter Stacy in the 55 actually got up into the 9 car, pushing Mark Dilley out of the groove. That allowed the 27 of Andrew Ranger to get by up into second spot.
Well, we said earlier that the 27 car, Andrew Ranger, is not shy, and he'll fill any hole when you open it up.
There's Kent Nuhn leading the 60 of Ron Beauchamp Jr. Beauchamp took a look in the Mopar Dodge, and he gets into the back of the 18.
Well, that's a spec motor against a built motor down the front stretch, and Ronnie Beauchamp Jr. will fill the hole on the bottom going in.
That Mopar has been known to breathe a lot of steam as Beauchamp, a big name in the NASCAR Canadian Tire Series for building motors, but this looks like it might get interesting. Stacy on the inside, the 55 is a lap down. Steckly manages to weave his way through traffic and around the outside.
Don Thompson Jr. gets through as well. There's the 3 Hathaway. He's starting to put the pressure on Thompson.
New paint scheme on the 3. Around goes the 19 of Brad Graham. Graham looking for a hole to get back in, and caution flag flies. You saw the wheel and safety lights up on the outside wall. Turn to yellow as caution flag flies. We'll take another look at it.
Well, looks like just a little too much rear brake on corner entry, and it snapped around on him.
Micks and Dilley, also Andrew Ranger in for their pit stops. Look like both Micks and Dilley might be penalized for advancing ahead of the pace car. You're not allowed to pull up and pass any cars before taking your pit stop.
Now you must hold your racing position and pit from that position as you come to pit road.
And NASCAR is ruling that a penalty will be issued to both the 02 and the number 9. Kerry Micks and Mark Dilley going down a lap at the midway portion of this race here in St.Eustache as we ride on board with the 60 of Ron Beauchamp Jr. as he leads them back to green.
Hard on the gas down to turn 1. You got the 60 in the bottom, the 22. A pair of Dodges lead footing it down the backstretch. It's a drag race. Steckly's got the advantage, but Beauchamp's in the preferred groove.
Last year's champion with a brand new sponsor on board this year, Canadian Tire, joining tow truck in a box on the 22 as they battle side by side.
Steckly got a great drive off the top side. He stayed with Beauchamp all the way down the front stretch. And here comes Thompson. He's going to put pressure on the 60.
Outside. Easy, you're okay.
That's Ron Beauchamp Sr. He's the spotter for his boy there, and he's doing a great job telling his son where things are at and how it's going.
How about the 3 car, Jason Hathaway on the outside of Anthony Simone in the 95.
Man, we got racing all the way back to 10th. I mean, this is great here at St.Eustache.
Steckly now back into a battle for second with a 4 of Don Thompson Jr. Thompson's going to nose into there. They touch going into 1 and 2.
Take a look back there, the 95 Simone. He's hard in this hunt as well.
And Jason White not too far behind in the 21. What a dice at the front of the field. Thompson now fully takes over second spot and sets his sights on your leader, the 60 of Ron Beauchamp Jr.
Boy, if you're not enjoying this race, you're just not a race fan. They're bumper to bumper, they're door to door, they're rubbing, they're racing. This is a fantastic event.
The 19 of Brad Graham pulls down to the infield, so woes continue for the Logos Dodge Avengers. We hit the halfway point in time now for the Home Hardware Midway update. 5 leaders so far tonight, 6 now 7 cautions have slowed the field for 45 laps. It's Steckly and Nuhn around, both of them together but in separate incidents, and doesn't appear to be too much damage to either car as both will get going, but caution once again slowing the field here in St.Eustache.
And Dave, lots of action on pit road. We got the 3 and the 4 in. Todd's in the leader's pit.
Problem entering pit road for Ron Beauchamp Jr., the Mopar Parts Dodge, but now the crew goes to work. Right side tires going on the Mopar Parts Dodge, and then it'll be the race off pit road to try to regain that lead.
Well, that Mopar Dodge has got lots of power now. It's got fresh rubber, and they're going to get to the front, no problem. Steckly, he's in trouble. He's out of his pit box. They're not going to let him start work until they move it back.
BC native Jason White leads his first laps here in St. Eustache.